What if the real reason economies collapse isn't greed, but something far more uncomfortable? What if money doesn't fail because people want too much of it, but because they forget what money is for? Today, economists argue about inflation, interest rates, liquidity, and growth. They treat money like a machine, part neutral, technical, amoral. But nearly 1,000 years ago, one thinker made a claim that still terrifies modern systems. When money is detached from morality, society rots from the inside out. Not slowly, not symbolically, structurally. His name was Abu Hamid Al-Ghazali. And what he understood about money, debt, and human behavior explains why modern financial systems keep repeating the same disasters over and over again. This is not a religious story. This is a systems story. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Al-Ghazali was born in 1058 in Tus, Persia, not into wealth, not into power, but into instability. The Islamic world at the time looked impressive from the outside. Vast trade networks, gold and silver currency, flourishing cities like Baghdad, scholars, merchants, and bureaucrats. But beneath the surface, something was breaking. Empires were growing faster than institutions. Wealth was concentrating. Political power was unstable. Religious authority was being used to justify economic exploitation. Money was circulating, but trust was collapsing. This matters because Al-Ghazali did not study money in abstraction. He watched what happened when systems drift away from purpose. Al-Ghazali started from a simple but radical premise. Money has no intrinsic value. Gold is useless unless people agree to treat it as a medium. Coins don't feed you. Numbers don't shelter you. Money exists for 3 reasons only: medium of exchange, measure of value, store of trust. That third one is critical. Money is not just economic, it is moral infrastructure. The moment money stops reflecting real value or honest exchange, it becomes corrosive. This is where modern economics quietly disagrees with him. Ghazali observed something dangerous in his time. Money stopped being a tool and started becoming a product itself. People were no longer using money to facilitate trade. They were trading money for more money without producing anything real. Sound familiar? He warned that when money is treated like a commodity, hoarding increases, speculation replaces production, inequality accelerates, trust erodes. This is why he fiercely criticized riba not merely as interest, but as profit without participation in real risk. To Al-Ghazali, this wasn't theology, it was economic physics. If profit is detached from real economic contribution, the system destabilizes. Here's where Al-Ghazali becomes uncomfortably relevant. In modern systems, debt is neutral. A contract. A number. To Al-Ghazali, debt was a moral event. Why? Because debt creates power asymmetry. The lender gains time, the borrower loses freedom. When debt expands faster than real productivity, society quietly turns into creditors at the top, debtors at the bottom. This is not capitalism. This is feudalism with spreadsheets. Al-Ghazali warned that excessive debt leads to social resentment, political instability, moral decay disguised as growth. He wasn't predicting, he was observing. At the height of his career, Al-Ghazali was the most powerful intellectual in Baghdad. Elite position, royal patronage, unlimited influence. And then he walked away. Why? Because he realized something terrifying. Systems can be perfectly logical and completely wrong. Scholars were defending exploitative economics using technical arguments. Judges were legalizing injustice through procedure. Merchants were praising efficiency while destroying social cohesion. The system worked, and that's why it was dangerous. This was Al-Ghazali's breaking point. Here's Al-Ghazali's most modern idea. People do not become corrupt because they are evil. They become corrupt because systems reward corruption. If a system rewards leverage over labor, speculation over production, speed over sustainability, then moral collapse is not a failure of individuals. It is designed behavior. Modern economics calls this incentives. Al-Ghazali called it fitness systemic disorder. Ghazali observed monetary debasement firsthand. Rulers clipped coins, reduced silver content, printed promises instead of value. Every time the same pattern followed, prices rose, trust fell, social cohesion cracked. He concluded that inflation is not merely a price phenomenon, it is a betrayal of trust. When money lies, everything else becomes negotiable. Contracts, ethics, authority. Sound familiar? Fast forward 900 years. Money is no longer gold. It's not even paper. It's digits created through keystrokes. Over $30 trillion created in under 15 years. Debt exceeding productivity. It's assets inflating faster than wages. And yet, economists insist this is fine. It's just policy. Al-Ghazali would call this moral blindness disguised as expertise. Al-Ghazali understood something modern textbooks avoid. When money enters a system, those closest to its creation benefit, those furthest away pay the cost. This is not a bug. It's structural. Today, banks access cheap capital, asset owners inflate wealth, workers face rising costs. The moral consequence? A society where effort is disconnected from reward, that is always unstable. People say, hard work doesn't pay anymore. They're not wrong. Al-Ghazali would say, the system has lost proportionality when returns come from financial engineering, arbitrage, debt leverage, rather than production skill, value creation. The moral contract breaks, and resentment fills the gap. Every era believes technology will solve moral problems. Al-Ghazali warned against this illusion. Efficiency without ethics accelerates collapse. Speed without purpose magnifies harm. Blockchain, AI, digital currencies, none fix the core issue. What is money supposed to serve? Without that answer, tools just sharpen dysfunction. Al-Ghazali didn't attack wealth. He attacked unaccountable wealth. He didn't oppose markets. He opposed markets without moral constraints. That's why his ideas are quietly ignored, because they imply limits, and modern systems hate limits. Money is not neutral. It encodes values whether we admit it or not. Debt and finance shape power, not just balance sheets. Economic collapse begins morally before it appears statistically. Every civilization eventually asks the same question: is money our servant or our master? Al-Ghazali gave an answer: we just stopped listening. If this perspective challenged how you think about money, economics, and power, subscribe, because history doesn't repeat mechanically, it repeats morally. And we are closer to the edge than most people realize.